Welcome to Carpe Diem, a podcast about personal finance and everyday life. I'm Jamie Davidson.
And I'm Nicole Jackson from Financial Center First Credit Union. Thanks for spending your time listening to us talk about how life and family affects us of achieving our financial goals.
Well, today we're going to talk about credit cards. We're in America and almost everybody has a credit card. But today we really want to talk about the pros and cons of credit cards. And I'm sure you are the fact queen. You came up with some really great facts today.
Yes. So to start with, according to LendingTree, and actually from October, so really recent here, credit card holders in New Jersey have the highest average credit card debt of any state.
Wow.
And Kentucky was the lowest, and Indiana comes in, just above that. I think of the 51 they listed, we were number 48.
48,
yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, right?
That's pretty good.
I think it's kind of surprising.
Frugal Hoosiers.
Makes me kind of wonder, though, how much of it is related to how much we make.
Well,
Like
could
the
be.
number's lower because our cost of living is
Cost
lower.
of living is lower.
than
Could be. Yeah.
The higher ones.
Yeah.
I mean, New Jersey, I don't know what their cost of living is.
I'm sure it's higher than Indiana.
Right.
And probably
And
Kentucky too.
Nothing wrong with Kentucky, though.
No.
No. So, and going back to the fact.
Got another fact?
Yes. As of 2021, the average American carries $5,525 in credit card debt. And that was from the Experian State of Credit Card report.
This message comes from Capital One. The Capital One Venture X business card has no preset spending limit, so the card's purchasing power can adapt to meet business needs. Plus, the card earns unlimited double miles on every purchase, so the more a business spends, the more miles earned. And when traveling, the Venture X business card grants access to over 1,000 airport lounges. The Venture X business card. What's in your wallet? Terms and conditions apply. Find out more at CapitalOne.com/VentureXBusiness.
What can 160 years of experience teach you about the future? A lot, especially when it comes to protecting what matters. At Pacific Life, we've helped people and businesses confidently embrace the future with life insurance, retirement income, and employee benefits. With strategies built on strength and trust, and a promise to be here for you today and tomorrow. Ask a financial professional how Pacific Life can help you today. Pacific Life Insurance Company, Omaha, Nebraska, and in New York. Pacific Life and Annuity, Phoenix, Arizona.
Or State of Credit report from 2020.
Yeah, we actually see that number trend up and down every year a little bit. It's been a lot worse before. It's gotten better, but I'm sure we'll see the trends continue back up and down.
And the last fact I have is that the average number of credit cards per person in the United States is 3.8.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Baby boomers have the highest average number of credit cards, tending around 5, and Gen Z have the lowest, around 1.7.
Wow. So if you're out there and you have 10 credit cards, that's not the average. So you might have a few too many. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I also kind of wonder if the reason that the Gen Z is so much lower, is it because they are more financially aware, or is it because they just haven't had time to open all the lines of credit
because
yet?
they're younger, right?
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. All right. Just like everything else, there are advantages and disadvantages of things you do. Same with credit cards, right?
Yep.
So why don't we start with the not so good, so the cons, the disadvantages. So
Get that bad stuff out
we
of
came
the
up
way.
with 5 of those today, didn't we?
Yes,
So
we did.
you want to start with the first one?
The first one we have is fees and interest. So just like your balance, your fees and interest can grow to a point where it gets beyond your control. You have to keep in mind that when you're paying off that monthly bill, that if you don't pay it off monthly, that bill's going to be a little bit higher next month because of whatever interest rate you have on your card.
Right.
So that percent actually grows every 90 plus days, which can get you to a delinquency of about 8%.
Yeah, a few things with credit cards. Well, actually, with any type of loan you have, but especially with credit cards, remember that if you don't pay it on time, there's going to be a fee on that. And once it goes past 90 days, it can go to collections. So
Right.
that can ruin your credit. So that's a con there. Keep an eye on it. Try not to miss those. And we'll talk a little bit more about that here in a bit. I came up with number 2, and you're going to love this because you're in the marketing department. That fine, tiny print that I can't read is confusing at times.
Hey, it's at least 6 to 8,
Yeah.
8.5.
So, when you do get that new credit card, make sure you're reading the disclosures to know, what's expected. Example would be like we just said. If I have an introductory rate and I miss a payment, they can bounce my interest rate up really high.
Mm-hmm.
What's number 3, Nicole?
It can negatively affect your credit score. We'll talk later about how, you can improve your credit score with credit cards, but also it can have that negative effect on where your credit score lands.
Yeah, the two things, I agree with you, is, make sure you're paying on time and you're not maxing them out, because that's going to have that negative impact.
Yeah, which, I mean, also is kind of being able to pay it off means don't overspend.
Yeah, I just had a conversation with my daughter who's been well educated on this matter, and when I found out she'd opened up another credit card, and she blurted out how much she owed, I about went through the roof. So just a little personal. Hi, Abby, love you out there. Number 4, the other disadvantage with credit cards, they can have high interest rates. Now, when we talked about this beforehand, and we were talking about those rates, remember this: when you get whether it's a Visa, American Express, MasterCard, Discover, those tend to have a lower rate, usually in the teens. But when you go to a department store, you're getting up into the 20s. And they can go all the way up to 29.99%. So if you're not paying off that monthly balance, you're paying a lot in interest. So you need to be really careful about that.
And it's funny, I think, it's not really funny, but I've noticed that I didn't really know what my credit card APRs were until recently. It's not something I think about. Obviously, I've had one of my cards since I was younger, and now, 20 years later, I'm realizing that interest rate's really like 27%, which, I mean, I don't ever carry a balance, but at the same time, if you did, right, like, that would suck a lot.
Yeah, on that there, speaking about the interest rates, remember this: credit cards tend to be variable rates.
Right.
So they can go up and down, where they're not fixed, where most loans you get are. And when the economy gets into the state where it's not so good, you're going to get disclosures saying your interest rates are going up. Even though you didn't do anything wrong, you're going to see your interest rates go up. What's number 5?
Fees. So just like, your credit limits and your APRs are some things you need to think about. Your fees are another thing you need to take into consideration. If you're going to go use it for a cash advance, you're going to use it at the ATM, have a foreign transaction if you're traveling. So your balance transfer fee is something else you have to keep in
Yeah, a
mind.
lot of times you'll see, low interest rate, but if you're transferring your balance, there's usually a fee of 3 to 5% on that. So yes, balance transfers, another senior moment I'm having today. So those were the 5 disadvantages. There are some advantages to having a credit card, and we're going to start with number 1, with the idea that this is really the first thing you get when you get some sort of credit. It builds your credit. So number 1 is credit building. For those that are younger, this is your first type of loan you get that you actually are responsible paying every month. So it's really important that you're being educated on this, because if you're not, things can go a little awry.
Right. You also, something to keep in mind is just because you have a credit card, it kind of goes into your credit building. You don't necessarily have to be spending with your credit card in order for it to be beneficial to you.
We were talking about this beforehand. You said you opened one, your parents helped you open one when you were
like 16.
A teenager, and it's a Discover card, right? Do you still have it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because it's your longest line of credit,
Exactly.
and it's benefiting you because it's your longest line of credit.
Right.
Very good.
And, just because I have it doesn't mean I feel the need that I have to use it, which helps with my credit, because as long as my card is a good card and it's green, staying ahead of the
Nicole's probably got the highest credit score in the building, so.
I got a couple loans this year.
A couple loans, okay.
Yeah.
Well, you have to every now and then.
But it'll be delivered to the credit bureau monthly to say that you are a good, responsible person.
I made that mistake where I closed my first credit card I had, and it shortens your history too. So by you having your Discover card still open, it makes it so it's...
Oh, that's how that works?
Yeah, so that's a good thing. Don't close that card. Never close that card. Keep it active.
Okay.
So make sure you use it about once a year.
Okay.
What's number 2?
Rewards.
Rewards.
I like rewards.
You like
Yes.
rewards? What do you mean
They're
by
the best.
rewards? I can get a reward for using my credit card? What?
Yeah, right. So a lot of credit cards provide rewards for you in different ways, as far as cash back, airline miles, hotel points, gas rebates, just basically anything that you can think of. You can probably find a credit card that will do that, and you can cash them in. And I was so pumped. I was looking at my accounts recently. I got $300 back on one of my credit cards because I kind of forgot about the points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good stuff if you make sure you're paying out those balances. I've been using one of my cards to do the grocery shopping and get the gas. So I can get the points, because they're giving me like triple points now. They're giving me 5 times points during the holidays. And what I do is I'll go and I'll use the card, and then the next day I'll go in and pay it off, because it's like I was going to use my debit card. So it's just one of those things you use. Now that doesn't mean you should go out and get new credit cards because you want miles or this or that. But
well,
if you
like we talked about Discover, it has options as far as which promotion I want to opt into. So I can be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do all my Christmas shopping on Amazon, and I'm gonna get 5% back on what I spend as opposed to the regular one or whatever.
Right.
Which is really cool.
It is.
Audible's romance collection has something to satisfy every side of you. When it comes to what kind of romance you're into, you don't have to choose just one. Fancy a dalliance with a duke, or maybe a steamy billionaire. You could find a book boyfriend in the city and another one tearing it up on the hockey field. And if nothing on this earth satisfies, you can always find love in another realm. Discover modern rom-coms from authors like Lily Chu and Ali Hazelwood, the latest romantasy series from Sarah J. Maas and Rebecca Yarros, plus Regency favorites like Bridgerton and Outlander. And of course, all the really steamy stuff. Your first great love story is free when you sign up for a free 30-day trial at audible.com/Wondery. That's audible.com/Wondery.
A new one that's out there now is number 3 for the advantages is the option to pay over time. A lot of credit card companies recently have been doing this buy now, pay later. And what that really means is instead of them charging you the interest rate, they're going to break it up into 3 payments, 4 payments, 5 payments, whatever you decide you want it to be, but they're going to charge you a monthly fee. So the monthly fee might be lower than the actual interest rate, so you need to look at that. And some of them are doing it where they don't charge a lot for that. But the key here is though, you need to make sure you're doing what, Nicole? Paying every month. What you say, right?
Right.
And that you're not using the card as well as that, because then that's where you get in that danger. You get into the danger zone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Remember many of these. This is Tom Cruise. Yes, it is Tom Cruise. Many of these cards that you get, they actually offer that introductory 0% rate on that. So make sure you that's a great promotion, but make sure you're, once again, going back to the con of reading the small fine print to make sure you're doing it the right way.
Because a lot of those fine prints are like, you go to your retail store and it's like, oh, you can get a nice TV for, a lot of money. And you get to 6 months and all of a sudden you get hit with that 30% interest rate. And what you thought was only going to be...
And that interest accumulates over time. So be careful there. Be sure. What's number 4?
Theft protection.
Theft protection.
Yes. So a lot of credit cards come with a free liability guarantee, which basically means that you don't lose money if you lose your card or your money.
Well, yeah. This has happened to us before. One of our cards that was online shopping, luckily it was a credit card, got the bill in. I'm like, what have we done? Who's been shopping? Well, we were... a victim of theft and fraud, and it took them a good almost 4 months to get everything settled and taken care of. I'm just thankful that my bank account wasn't attached to that and it had been wiped out. So a lot of times I recommend credit cards are great to use when doing online shopping, booking a hotel, booking airfare. A lot of times they put holds on those cards, and if you keep you keep your balances really tight in your checking account, you can overdraft. So credit card's a great reason to do that, and the theft protection is wonderful.
Which kind of got me thinking just now, Jamie, is as far as like the Venmo and the PayPal and all those other Cash App type things, should we be using our credit card for that, or should it be our checking and savings account? Because I think that most of the time they ask. You have the option.
Bank account, do
For
they?
your bank account, yeah.
Well, maybe that's another show.
But I'm just saying, like, if you have the option to do something online, should you always kind of
Lean towards a credit card. I would recommend you lean towards a credit card online. Yeah, I think transactions when you go out to eat, get your gas, go to the grocery, get your Starbucks, go ahead and use your debit card. That way you know how much you're spending on it. It's not a surprise. But yeah. And number 5, I've got number 5 here. It's actually, believe it or not, improving your financial literacy and wellness. And I love my financial literacy and wellness. So the question is, how does it do that? What does it do? How does this help a person?
Well, it helps you start from a young age, potentially teaching your children about how to properly manage their finances.
Yep, finances is a good one. It teaches them. I mean, I think we see a lot of times young people go out in the world, they haven't been told how this works. They're going to get offered the credit card, and there's nobody going to give them rules. They're going to get the disclosure, and that's it, and they don't know about how to use it. So I really see credit card as a good example of a discussion you have to have with your children when they're younger to teach them how this works. We've probably, your kids, we work in the banking industry, so they're pretty good at understanding how it works, but I mean, I still think they think it's just on this card and.
Oh yeah, I think my kid has made a comment recently about, well, you got that card, it's got money on it, right? I'm like, it's not quite how it works.
Right. So it's a moment to teach and say, well, yeah, actually, if I use this card, I'm going to have to pay this back by this time, and it's going to be interest if I don't. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a good time. It's better to have that discussion early on than later on.
Well, also, it kind of serves as a safety net, too, as far as getting your kids that credit card. I mean, that's what we talked about my parents doing with me when I was younger. They were on it, so they had a little bit of, buy-in to make sure that I got off on the right foot.
Yep.
That I had guarantee that I wasn't going to spend
outside
of my means.
Yeah,
Exactly.
same with my oldest. So try to teach, and hopefully you've done a good job. I think we're still in learning mode in my house.
Oh yeah, we are definitely in learning mode.
I oftentimes say to my children, you do know what I do for a living, right? And they're like, whatever, Dad. So.
Well, okay, so we said there were only 5, Jamie, but I really feel like there's some other perks that kind of come along with it. Not that I'm trying to sell anybody on a credit card, but I think there's a little bit more.
There are. They've really, credit cards have really evolved. One of the things I've noticed recently for other perks is you can track what you're spending. It'll show you what you're buying. They'll say you bought this. This was entertainment. This was dining. This was for fuel, which I see it as it's a great budgeting tool as long as you're paying attention to it.
Right. You can also use it like when you travel. I think that a lot of them offer really cheap or almost probably free currency conversions. So that way you don't have to worry about going out.
And you're not taking it out of your bank account, right?
Exactly.
Right. Number 3, a lot of times, and you need to make sure you check with your credit card company. A lot of your credit cards, if you use them when you rent a car, it's actually going to include the insurance on the car. So, but make sure you're asking before you do that. Don't assume. Never assume. Validate, right?
But that actually, if you do take them up on that coverage at the rental place, having the coverage on your credit card can actually nullify or completely void your offer.
Oh.
So then, you think that, I'm gonna get the insurance that the rental car offers, and I'm gonna use it on my credit card too. That way, I'm doubly covered.
Doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way.
Be aware of that. Right. What's the next one?
Online shopping.
What does that mean?
Well, it basically means that almost everybody will take your credit card money.
Yeah, they will.
They will take it, with the exception of your retailers like your.
If you have a store card, what I mean by that is, and I'm just going to name just stores: Walmart's, Target's, Kohl's. You're not going to be able to use those online unless you're purchasing from them.
Right.
But if you've got an Amazon card, you can use that anywhere.
Right. Exactly.
Right. And number five, I don't know where that came from, folks. Last but not least, extended warranties. Some companies offer on some qualifying purchase with your card, which means you've already got that warranty. You don't have to purchase it because, as Nicole said, I love warranties, which is not the case, but there are times to have warranties.
Well, okay, so what you're saying is, or I guess the point is, if you were to go make a big purchase, you can check your credit card first to make sure that there may, okay. So if you're going to go make a big purchase later, you want to check your credit card to make sure that you do or do not have an extra warranty kind of built in.
Right.
Before that purchase already.
Yeah.
Just to kind of save yourself some money down the road.
I agree.
Right. So it all comes down to knowing what you have. If you have a fluctuating APR, make sure that you know what it is. If you're going to make a big purchase, like I just said, check your credit card and make sure that you may or may not have that warranty built in. So Jamie, big question is, what would you look for if you're going to go credit card shopping right now?
I definitely shop around because everybody's going to be trying to get you to get their business. So it's one of those things where you want to find out what's best for you. Are you going to, what would you, I like the perks right now. I'm going to look for the perks. One of the cards that I use shows me how much money I spend. I have the perk I'm able to transfer right from my bank account to that. There's other things though too. What would you look for, Nicole?
I would check for fees, making sure that I'm not going to have an annual fee, foreign transaction fee, balance transfer fee, late payment fee. Basically, I want to save the money where I can.
Yeah, and that's the key. Know where it's doing. Those rewards, like I said, I love those. That's a good idea as long as you're paying attention to what you're doing. A lot of times we get caught up just using our card and we don't know where we are. So make sure you're doing that.
Also checking promotions. 0% balance transfers are awesome. Just making sure that you understand when that offer ends and how much
Yeah, which takes us to the APR. Make sure you're aware of what the APR is. Is it fixed? Is it variable? What happens if, like you said, if I miss a payment? If you miss a payment on an introductory rate, they're going to usually raise your APR pretty high.
Right. And acceptance, making sure that the card that you're using is going to be, good everywhere.
Isn't that a tagline to one of the credit card companies?
Accepted everywhere, I think.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to encourage which one it is, but I think it is. Another one is security. What kind of security does the card offer? Are you going to make sure that you're insured? Do they alert you if your social security number has been used? A lot of them now, we're talking about perks again. That's another thing. A lot of them are doing they're letting you check your credit score.
I get one monthly actually for mine, and they're like, "Hey, your credit is trending up or down."
Right, and I mean that's good though, right? We went from not really knowing to really having access almost all the time. So I think it's a good tool. Back to the financial literacy and wellness.
And something else that is cool about security is having the option to turn your card off or on, which not only I think impacts like the safety of the card, but also whether or not you kind of get that spending itch to make sure that you can turn off your card because you're not going to use it for whatever, which helps if you misplace your wallet or your kids dump it out in the middle of the floor. It gets kicked under a couch and you don't see it for months.
I think we're hearing some personal things that might have happened in our house. I'm not sure. Maybe your dog ate it too.
Oh, I don't talk about the dog.
No dogs anymore?
Anyway, so knowing how your credit card works, the benefits and the drawbacks to be aware of, and how to use them responsibly, we hope that we have armed you with some knowledge that it's going to help you make a good decision later down the road.
My fist isn't there because we've armed you with knowledge. I've got my pen up too. So yeah, it'll help you with those next steps, right? To get that perfect card.
Exactly.
Right. Carpe Dime is presented by Financial Center First Credit Union. It's produced by Jamie Davidson and Nicole Jackson.
Financial Center is an 8-time national award winner in the category of adult financial literacy, and our goal is to what, Jamie?
Improve your financial life. To learn more, visit fcfcu.com.
Like what you hear? Subscribe to us on Google, iTunes, SoundCloud, the All Indiana Podcast Network, and Spotify.
Thanks, Nicole. Good podcast. I appreciate all your hard work.